Welcome to everyone who has joined today's webinar, and thank you for attending. Today, our guest speaker is going to show you how you can master a digital microscope in 20 minutes. I'm Mark Clymer. I'm the Director of Marketing at Unitron. Our guest speaker today is Kieran Slicker, and he's with Ash Technologies, and they're the developer of digital microscope solutions such as the Omni, Inspex HD, and Ion 4.3. Before we jump into the presentation, I just wanted to remind you that we will have a Q&A section at the end of the presentation. So please submit your questions through your control panel. At any time during the webinar, just click these three dots, choose Ask a Question, and enter your message or your question space below that, and then submit that question. We will gather them over the course of the webinar, and then we'll address them at the end. Also, if you wanted to minimize that window, the control panel, just click the red tab and it'll collapse off to the right. Also want to let you know we are recording the webinar, and we'll be sharing that replay link in a day or so when it's available. So feel free to share that link with your coworkers, with your friends, and other peers. And if you happen to drop off and you want to catch up with the rest of the presentation, the webinar, you can always review it again. Okay. So let's get started. Whether you're in a manufacturing, an R&D, academic, art conservation, or another environment, stereo microscopes have been the benchmark approach to observing and inspecting samples that require any kind of magnification. No one is going to argue that stereo microscopes are tried and true technology, and they're generally easy to use. Stereo microscopes are great, they're reliable, and they last forever. However, they're not very ergonomically friendly. They usually lack the ability to take pictures or capture measurements very easily, or even compare a live sample against a benchmark or a golden sample. And they're not calibrated either. There is a new alternative to the traditional microscope. The Omni Core redefines observation and inspection with capabilities and features that can be used across a wide range of applications and industries. It comes pre-calibrated to an ISO standard right from the factory, and it solves the whole ergonomics issue associated with traditional stereo microscopes. So let's take a little bit closer look at the Omni. The Omni Core begins with a robust set of standard features and functionality that are shown in the middle in orange. These include calibration tracking across magnification changes. You can set user privileges. You can save files to a network, or you can even email them. You've got full control of the camera and orientation, and there's also lens distortion correction. You can also use advanced apps as you need them. They're shown in purple around the outside. This approach allows greater flexibility with your needs and budget, and it allows for the addition of more apps as they're developed and as your needs grow. The Omni Core is really practically future-proof. But seeing is believing, so I'm going to hand off the controls to our guest speaker. But before I do that, let me introduce him. Kieran Slicker is the sales and marketing executive at Ash Technologies, and he's also the product expert for the Omni. He spent more than 10 years working with digital magnification technology. At Ash Technologies, Kieran utilizes his involvement with customers and channel partners to understand the inspection applications and requirements, and guides customers towards the best solution for their particular situation and process. Kieran's earned his bachelor degree in product design from the Institute of Technology, Carlisle. So Kieran, welcome, and I'm going to pass you the control.
All right, thanks, Mark. Just let me share my screen. Can you see that okay?
I'm just seeing right now.
Sorry, can you see that?
Still just getting the black spot.
Okay, just one sec. No. Okay, that should do it.
Okay.
Okay, you can see that, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, first of all, thanks for taking the time to attend this webinar today. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I know everyone has a busy schedule. As Mark mentioned, my name is Kieran and I've been with Ash for over 10 years. This webinar is intended to be an overview of the powerful Omni Core apps and what it can do for your inspection applications. So I'll just start by looking at the front panel briefly. You can see there's various functions available. All of these functions are available on the on-screen software, which we're going to see in a few minutes. But just to give you an idea of the camera system, it's quite compact. It's mounted here on a track stand. So you can see there's a focus block here. And we have various functions such as overview. You have image brightness, magnification, ring light intensity, manual focus. You have an integrated ring light here, which is detachable and is powered via the Omni system. So there's no desk clutter or external power supplies. We also have other options there like a diffuse dome light and UV lighting. So we'll just have a brief look at the Omni setup. This is it on the stand looking at, it's like an intravenous molded part from medical device. And you can see that, you know, it's set up with the part under the camera on a backlight. And you have intensity control on this stand as well. So I'm going to switch over to the actual live feed from the Omni camera. So you can see here on the right we have a toolbar. This is where all the functions and apps live. So at the moment I'm at full magnification for this lens. So to give you an idea of the impressive magnification range, if I click overview here on the toolbar, the system's going to zoom back to the lowest, which is about 2 or 3x. And you can see that massive field of view as well. I'll just go back in. So first off, that's a huge plus compared to an optical system. And that's one of the big things that people love about the digital systems. So I'm going to go straight into the first app, which is 2D measurement, annotation and graticules. So you've probably used 2D measurement software before on a PC. Well, all this software is integrated into the camera and it's a HD cable direct to the monitor, so there's no PC involved. So if I click on this ruler here on the toolbar, and I just click this magnet, which basically means edge detection, I'll enable a preview there so you can see what it's seeing. So you can see the system is clearly identifying those edges on the part. So when we draw our measurements, we don't even have to be exactly on the edge of the part. We can release it near the part. We can do 3-point circle. We can do vertical, horizontal, point to point. We can do angles, radius. We can annotate. So if we want to leave a message, this file may be recorded for quality control purposes, we need to state some, or maybe pass to a supplier or a customer, and you might want to reference something. So we can save this file by clicking on this floppy disk icon. And we have two options. We can save as an image, which is a JPEG or a bitmap, but I want to save it as a measurement because I want to retain that information about the measurements. I might want to edit them later. So we'll just call it number 4. So that's saved as a proprietary .ash file, which is unique to the Omni system. So now that I've done that, I can actually recall that file and do what I like with it in the future. Also, when you save a measurement file, it doesn't even have to have measurements on it. It can be what we call a graticule. So down here we have a little icon. This is the graticule app. So I've created one earlier and I've called it Mechano Graticule. What that does is it basically overlays lines or any shapes on the screen. So it's like a digital template or a digital overlay. And what that means in practice is an operator can pass the part underneath and they can quickly make the decision, is it pass, fail, is it go or no go? So these lines here on screen tell the operator anything outside of this line should be a pass. Particularly useful in high volume operations. And what most companies would do is when they have high volume parts, they would have a fixture or a jig on the stand so that the operator doesn't have to place the objects by eye. It's in the same position every time. So that's another powerful feature. We've seen a lot of manufacturing companies use that. So that's the 2D measurement and annotation and graticules. So a step on from that, we can also work with measurement files automatically. So the next app is the automatic measurements. And if I click down here, this is our extended toolbar. So we couldn't fit all the apps onto the toolbar because we're releasing 1 to 2 apps maybe every year. So if I click on auto, it's asking me to recall a measurement file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recall the file I created a minute ago and some others. So I can choose to execute one file or I can run all of the files in the folder. So I'm going to run all the files, press play. The system automatically remembers the magnification level. It remembers the image brightness, the ring light intensity. And what it's doing is, based on the tolerances I've set, it's running these measurements and giving me a pass or fail. So it's after failing 2 measurements. So that was on the first drawing. So they were out of tolerance. The tolerance is 0.1 millimeter. So this is great. Now I have this information. So what do I do with it? I can save it as a .csv file, which is used then in further analysis, which are quality software or whatever process you've set up. So that's a powerful feature. You know, you're getting quantitative data from the system. And also with automatic measurement, there is a motorized stage option. So this means it'll do exactly what you just saw, but a motorized stage can actually move the part to the correct position on the camera. So again, the location of the part on the stage is actually stored in the measurement file. So the good thing about this is it can reduce or eliminate operator intervention. So again, if you have high volume, you want to standardize, streamline your measurement process. And all of this leads to more repeatable measurements, eliminate subjective judgment, reduce measurement time, which means reducing operational costs. So next up in the sort of measurement area is DXF import. So again, this is an additional app. So if I click on this icon, it's asking me to import a file. So I have a DXF file on my USB key. I'm just going to select that, click the import button here. And that's imported a .dxf file. And this is a really powerful feature because it means that an R&D departments or an engineer can pass over CAD drawings, which they would usually have anyways. They can bring them over to production or QC. So again, it's time saving. You don't have to create your templates or your measurement files. And this file can then be used further in the automatic measurement app. It actually comes in as a vector, so the objects are movable and editable. So that sums up the 2D measurement, automatic measurement, and DXF apps, which are some of the most powerful on the system. Next up, I'm gonna change the sample. We're gonna have a look at image stacking. So for this, I'm going to introduce a PCB. So I'm going to zoom in further, adjust my camera height. As you can see, the base of the board is in focus, but these components and switches are just not. So if I click on the image stacking icon here on the toolbar, I jog up to the highest focal point. I click start. The image is going to take 4 images, stitch them together, and we're going to have one still image that's in focus. So you can see everything's in focus now, even these large caps. So if I go back to live, that was what we were seeing beforehand. This is the result. So that's another powerful app, which means that you can document parts with varying heights in one single snapshot, which reduces inspection time. And we're going to stick with the PCB for the next app. So we have 2 image comparison options on the system. So the first one is image overlay. So I'll show you what that looks like now. So basically, if you've got your master or golden sample, and an operator needs to compare that to a production sample, so I'm going to create my master or golden. So when I click on the overlay app down here, it's on the toolbar here, it's asking me to recall the master. Now it's actually switching between live and still, which we can't recognize there because the images are both identical. But as an example, if I was to introduce foreign material or something out of place, you would quickly be able to see something's not right on the PCB. So this allows operators to rapidly identify differences, which again reduces inspection time, reduces fatigue on the operator. You know, if they were using an optical system, they'd be hunched over looking into the eyepiece, and they wouldn't have this capability. So that's overlay. For the next image comparison, we're going to do side by side, and this is the same principle, but it's splitting the screen and it has golden and production samples side by side. So I'll just go into automatic measurement. So the system is auto and manual. I'm going to save this as my master. So now when I click on the split screen side-by-side app, again, it's asking me for the master sample. So I can actually compare. Again, you're looking for any foreign material, any dents or abnormalities in the mold. And this can apply to any industry, to any part. This split screen here, we can control the middle line. We can even save this whole frame as an image, again, to report back to maybe a supplier or customer and to provide evidence of fault or lack of failure. So we'll just exit out of that. So that's image comparison. And the last app we can touch on is lens distortion correction. So I'm going to introduce the PCB again. So this is a really large PCB. And when you're using a lens like this, you can get the distortion on the perimeter. So you can see at the top there, this is bowed or warped. So we have a little icon here, lens distortion correction. So if I click on that, it's going to process the image and straighten out the edges. So we're presented with a still straight image. So to illustrate the before versus the after, that's before and that's after. So that's, again, another powerful feature. If you're looking at a large part, you want to reduce the distortion, so then you can pass on that image to a supplier or customer, or store it just for your own records. So lens distortion comes with the standard model, the base model. Also, what comes with the base model is networking functions such as sending an email from a Gmail account. So you can send emails directly from the system. You just plug in your Ethernet cable, set up your account. You can also store images to a network file location, so NFS. Again, that's a powerful feature. It saves people, passing files between different computers or departments. You can save your files to a central location where somebody else then can view them and process them as they require. And also we have user privileges. So this is basically like on your Windows PC, you can set up different accounts and you can restrict access to certain people. So here we have 3 users set up. If I were to add a user, I could pick and choose what apps they can actually use. So again, this is really powerful where you are in an environment where there's many different people working on the one system, where you have many different parts. You can standardize, streamline the process. So that sums up the apps on the system. That's an overview of the power of the Omni. So I can hand it back to you there, Mark.
That's great, Kieran. Let me grab it back. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yep.
Great. All right, well, we're about ready to enter the Q&A session of our webinar. So if you have any questions, please use the chat or the Q&A area to submit your question to us, and we'll take a look at that. So let me proceed to the Q&A. So I have a couple of questions here that were submitted. One question, in case anybody wasn't paying attention, it's coming in through the chat. Kieran, so how do you recommend that someone align their sample for comparison with the golden sample?
So yeah, as I was saying there, if you're doing, particularly with high volume, it's going to be a pain point if you're going to have to manually position the part every time. So what we've done with customers in the past is we've actually worked with them to make a template, a physical fixture or template. So it would basically be a machined part that would mean the operator literally positions the part in the exact same location every time. And this is the only way you can guarantee, obviously, that the part is aligned properly. And if it's high volume, you're definitely going to have to do that to control the process.
Okay. Yeah, I think some people might refer to the template as a jig, just a way to ensure alignment and some orientation.
I didn't want to say jig because I thought that was more of an Irish term.
Right. Oh, right. Okay, so some other questions. What objectives are available for the Omni Core?
The objectives, so what I just demonstrated there was the 5 diopter lens, so that's the standard that comes with the camera. We also have a 0.3x, 0.5x in achromat, a plan, and in plan achromatic. There's a 1x and a 2x plan achromatic, and there's a 10x and a 25x lens. So there's plenty of options. The lenses are easily interchangeable. It's 58mm threaded, so you literally screw them on and off. So you can achieve with 25x, you can achieve about 630x magnification. So it's pretty high mag. Most people, the 5 or the 10 is sufficient for them.
Also, Karen, what are the lighting options for the Omni?
Yeah, so the standard, as I was saying at the introduction, the standard ring light comes with the system. So that's a quadrant controllable fused LED ring light. We also have a UV ring light. So it works on the same principle. It literally snaps in and out. There's no cabling, no fuss. We can actually make UV lights to order. So some people want different wavelengths. We actually make them here in our own facility. There's also a diffused LED dome light. So again, that attaches through the same mechanism. There's no cabling or external power supplies. So so they're the 3 options. And we plan to develop more as applications arise.
And I just wanted to add as well that just because a particular light is not available to integrate with the Omni, you can use any light source.
Yeah.
So you can use double goosenecks, anything you want that were available. So yeah, same with wavelength as well. Okay, so we do have other questions. Trying to pick one. Does the Omni support other languages?
Yeah, the Omni has 18 different language options. So and we add more as required. We've added all the major languages. So yeah, it's fully localized.
Okay. Also, what monitors do you recommend to use with the Omni?
We always say to use a full HD monitor, so that's 1920 by 1080 pixels. Most people tend to use a 24-inch or a 22-inch monitor. You can, of course, use any HD monitor you require. But yeah, most people tend to stick with 24 or 22.
Okay. Another question, I guess it seems logical, but can the Omni be controlled remotely? I guess someone might want to dial in, I guess, and run the Omni. Maybe it's in a clean room or maybe for conferencing purposes.
So it can't be controlled. you can network it to access files. So you would log in through a PC and you can copy files from Omni to your PC. You can stream the live video. So the way I'm doing it here for this webinar is I'm using an accessory we offer. It's a HDMI to USB converter, and you plug that into your PC. The PC can pick it up like any webcam. So it's a generic imaging device. So you're free to use that video feed in any program, whether it be Skype, webinar, anything really. So I'm actually running the live feed in the Windows Camera app here. That's how I'm showing you the Omni screen. So yeah, to answer the question, control no, but you can remotely view things.
Okay. So a question about edge detection. Does that need to be set every time you use the Omni, or is that something that's stored within it?
So depending on what you're looking at, if the part is different colors, different lighting, whatever. But when I save those measurement files, it saves the edge detection parameters as well. So in that sense, it's reproducible when you open the file. You might need to set it up initially, but once you've saved it into the file, then it's okay.
Right. There was another question where someone had seen a demonstration where there was stacking of lenses. Would the Omni, is there any way to tell the Omni what the combination of lenses are in order to maintain accurate calibration?
No, there isn't. You can stack lenses to achieve higher magnification, but the system is only calibrated for each lens individually.
Okay. Let's see what else we have. There's a question about base price and upgrade options. I think general pricing, and that's something that's usually best left with your dealer, your Unitron dealer. I can tell you that the Omni Core starts at 7,000, and then there's options for stands and the applications and lighting and so forth. So it goes up from that point. But as we mentioned at the very beginning, it's really customizable. So you buy what you need, and that way you're much more flexible with your need and your budget. Now, Kieran, I think you said they're 58 millimeter lenses on the Omni. Can you add filters to that?
Sorry, is that filters, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have
like a polarizer, analyzer, something like that.
Yeah, we have a 58 mil polarizing lens filter. Then you can put the analyzer on the base. So there's a track stand with an uplight option. So yeah, you could just place the analyzer on the base, or you could fix it. There's screw holes for mounting on the base.
Okay. I think those are all the questions. I don't see any other questions. So I just wanted to thank you, Kieran, for taking time. He was live from Ireland. And this is the end of today's webinar. So thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks again, Kieran, for demonstrating how easy it is to use the Omni Core digital microscope. And if anybody was keeping track of time, I think you did it in about 21 minutes. So pretty darn close to 20 minutes. If you'd like more information on the Omni Core, you can reach out to us at unitronusa.com. You can reach out to Ash Technologies at ash-vision.com. There's information on both of these websites regarding the Omni and other digital inspection, digital microscopes. You could also send an email directly to me, mark.clymer@unitronusa.com. And I think that about covers everything. So from everyone here at Unitron and at Ash Technologies, I'd like to wish you a great day.
Thanks. See you.